For non-existent news, I am Michelangelo of Foreign and Travel Affairs. Tonight we devote our broadcast, in exceptional circumstances, to the man behind the Scupdate himself, Scott Anderson, only a day back from his epic journey. Without any further ado, let's go to our field report in the fall. Thank you, Michael. Recently, Scott Anderson started a social media firestorm with his inaugural Scupdate. For any of the older viewers out there, a Scupdate is essentially a travel snippet recorded in a text, photo or video format. Throughout the duration of the Scupdate period, many have been incredulous at the scale and extent to which events have unfolded. Here to find more about the events driving the Scupdate, here's my exclusive interview with Scott Anderson himself. Scott, hello.
Hi Dave, nice to meet you.
So, for the viewers out there of non-existent news, could you please give a brief overview of your escapades this week?
Sure, so I went on what you could call a solo travel mission, starting last Sunday night, transferring to Hamburg initially, and then to Munich during the course of Wednesday. I arrived back last night, so Saturday night.
So according to the Scupdates that we've recorded from you across the week, you've had your fair share of missteps. Would that be accurate to say?
Well, I'd describe them more as fiascos, to be honest. But truly, yes. Yes, I did. I did have a lot of them.
If you don't mind me asking, I'd like to focus specifically on your return flight home, as that is one of the missteps we have recorded also. What happened there, Scott?
Well, yes, he's absolutely correct. I did miss my flights, Dave, on the Friday night. So, what led up to that was I was coming home. I decided to spend some time at the Olympia Stadium, and I happened to run across a skateboarding contest there, which I didn't anticipate. So I spent a lot of time there, perhaps 15 minutes more than I should have done, and this led to me essentially not having any margin for error in returning to the airport. So I received an offer from my dad to stay for an extra night, and that sort of that allowed me to start thinking about whether I should or not. A bit conflicted about coming home, so and I ended up missing my stop. I had a transfer on the line to get from the Olympic Stadium to the airport. That's what happened there.
Just a few more from you here, Scott. We actually have what seems to be an exclusive report of a fiasco that occurred on the Wednesday of your trip, on the checkout from your Hamburg hostel. Is that correct, Scott?
Well, it seems you're very well informed here, to be honest, Dave. So, yes, that is also another fiasco that did occur. Being a drunk, silly man on the Tuesday night in Hamburg, I completely overshot what time I probably should have hit the hay, as it were, and I woke up at approximately 10:30, 11:15, when my checkout time was 10 o'clock. They weren't too happy about that, possibly partly due to being German, but I survived. They didn't kill me for it, so being alive, I'm grateful.
Sorry to extend our coverage of your fiasco so much, Scott, but we encountered from a specifically long update note of what many people across the world are describing as the MIA Day. What happened on the MIA Day, Scott?
Yeah, so the MIA Day, probably one of my less favoured memories of the trip, to be honest. I arrived in Munich quite late. I woke up at approximately about 7:30. To one of the roommates, got chatting to him. He was doing a castle tour of a castle called Neuschwanstein. So I thought I came to Munich essentially for that tour. I'd like to go with someone. So I essentially dropped everything and got ready and went on the tour to go on the tour with him. But due to the fact I'd only just arrived, I hadn't got my things sorted. Couldn't quite find my phone. Couldn't quite find a lot of things at the time, but predominantly my phone. This meant I was there was no contact with the outside world, and got a lot of missed calls from parents, assaulted parents. I only got 2, but assaulted. And also this meant that I couldn't get any money during the day, so I essentially spent about a day on about €10 that the roommate loaned me in exchange for a £10 note. So, yeah, the MIA day, off the grid living. I wasn't too keen, probably wouldn't go back. So, aside from the fiasco, Scott, it seems that you also had some euphoric highs, I believe it would be accurate to say. Of those highs, were there any that specifically stuck out to you? Yes, so I'm glad we're on the point of high notes now. There was obviously a lot to take from the trip, and it's hard to pick a favourite, really. Germans are very big on their museums, so I really enjoyed, for instance, the Bayern Munich Stadium Museum. I visited a very, very detailed miniature park that details lots of German heritage. Other than that, it generally just an enjoyable place to be, an enjoyable place to see sights because there's lots of architecture that's interesting. My highlight was probably Neuschwanstein, the castle tour, but yeah, there was a lot of other interesting avenues and things that I didn't expect along the way. So now we've got the details of your Scupdates and exactly what were the stories behind them. Are there any parting shots from you here, Scott? Yeah, well, aside from the fact that there's beautiful sights and just lots of interesting people all across Germany where I've been, I'd like to just point out that it was very hot and my back got really sweaty. I wrote off a lot of t-shirts, a lot of them.